Hey guys, welcome back to another What If here. Today we are doing a new one. And if you're wondering, hey, I thought you said, you'd be doing What Ifs, have you, any new What Ifs Wednesday? Well, yes, but I thought instead of just, either leaving it not uploading or just uploading, hey guys, I'm gonna do a new What If Wednesday, so no what if today. Well, it would be the easiest thing to do, but no, I'd rather do it now, as well, it's kind of in my mind, and plus I feel like we probably should take a break from that What If. So yeah. And as you've read in the title, or in the thumbnail, or as you can see in the video currently, it says, what if Asta had transformation magic? So yeah, and some of you can go, oh, but that's a weak magic, and some of you can go, well, is it? I don't know, and some of you may go, oh, well, yeah, that can be strong. Well, yeah, if you're the very small majority that at least understands that transformation can be just as strong as anti-magic. Well, what do you mean by it? If you have it, say, if any magic hits, say, Asta's arm, and Asta can transform it into, say, like a cloud or something harmless within milliseconds, then obviously if it's a cloud, which is just, a cloud, it would pass through, it'd pass through it, and no harm done to him. He may be a bit wet, but that's about it. And if you can imagine, like boulders, thunder, lightning, whatever, being transformed immediately into clouds, anti-magic would still probably be the better option, but yeah, anyway. Let's get into this one before I start rambling on about some stuff that, well, I don't know, you guys tell me in the comments down below, do you want Asta to still have the 5-leaf grimoire, yes or no? I'll probably put a poll in the description down below so you guys can vote. So yeah, I'm curious. Anyway, so yeah, Asta would be, he'd be, born to Lisita? I think that's her name, Lisita. Yeah. And his dad is unknown, as we still don't know who his dad is. So yeah. Cool, and she then abandons him, as of course her thought is, that she'd kill him because she steals life force from anything that is alive, unless you're a devil or you're a newborn baby that was inside of the person that can steal life force. Then you generally are gonna be you're gonna be just fine around those people that can steal life force. It's not gonna do nothing to you, as who's the side person that could do it. So yeah, but of course, and obviously she can feel magic from Asta, but obviously it's kind of it's fluctuation, which I'd think even in newborns, at probably the very beginning it would fluctuate a bit, as they, again, just newly born, they have no idea what's going on. They just went from a possibly warm and damp place to all of a sudden, going from probably 31 degrees inside to dropping down to 20, 15 degrees, who knows how hot or cold. So yeah, anyway, so of course she'd abandon Asta at the church, which then a couple of I'd probably say like 2-3 hours later, Yuno's basket would then appear there. And of course then I think it probably by like afternoon, as it starts getting late, I think Yuno's the one that just starts crying. And of course he realizes, hey, there's 2 children outside, 2 newborns. And so he brings them in, and of course he sees, one of them is the other one is Asta. He thinks they're twins at first, but realizes that they're not, because they're too different. Yeah, so you'd grow up, but you'd grow up with people not really making fun of him, because he would have magic in his timeline. And I'd probably say without a grandma, his, like, a majority of his magic is kind of just, like, his magic is kind of useless. Or at least, for now. But yeah, so of course he's, still gonna have the mentality of, wanting to become the Wizard King and to get stronger. And, well, I guess he'd still have his fantasy about Sister Lily, because why not? That was a part of Asta. I don't think that would change even if he did have magic. So yeah. But of course, you would be able to at least sense them, like via magic. But of course, he would still train himself to be stronger, as you wouldn't. You'd think, well, if his magic is like weak, or it can't do much, he would just, he would instead use his body. He will get his body strong, so that he doesn't have to rely on, on his magic that could be weak. Of course, little does he know, as his magic is quite strong. He just needs to realize what he's able to do. So yeah, and it'd be one day when he's like, say 7 or 8, when he's out training. I'd say, he would hit the skeleton structure of the 500-year-old dead demon monster that the First Wizard King killed. And of course, and as it's pretty much falling apart, like a bit of bone or that, or even just just a part of something would fall, and Asta would then obviously hear a crack and then silence, as something's just falling as he looks up. As of course, in just the last bad moment, he puts out his hand and challenges, and his challenge calls upon his magic. Thinking about, this is his best time as any to see what my magic can do. He's got to win. So what can I do? As it touches, and then because he's just, he's kind of, he thinks what would be, good to have. Well, a sword would, I guess, be nice to, train with, all that. And so from like the bone that fell wouldn't hit his arm, or he would then open his eyes to what was once, like a big chunk of bone would then be a sword, as he's kind of wondering, in the ground, as he's wondering what just happened. I'm pretty sure boulder was about to crush me. Could this be my magic? Could it be transformation magic or some other type of maybe it's kind of like bone magic, that I could transform anything that is bone into anything I want. But it's like, well, first, how about I try it on that, stone or that. So he'd grab, well, no, he wouldn't even grab a stone, he'd grab a okay boulder, something that I guess would equivalent to a kitchen table, a big low kitchen table. And he thinks, and he'd think, well, about a kitchen table, because why not? He's thinking if he's got transformation magic, having a table or that would be nice. So then he'd call upon his magic again, and a kitchen table would appear as he then of course would open his eyes again, and he'd go, okay, so he gets happy as he now knows what his magic is and that he can transform objects. But yeah, then something else would come on into himself. He'd go, wait, but if I can transform that, could I possibly transform myself? But into what? What would be useful? What's something that is handy to transform into? As he thinks about it, it's like, well, I guess flying would be handy, because then I'd be able to go anywhere. The sky's the limit, as they say. And he's like, well, so I guess I'll try, but there's that anti-bird over there that seems to, watch me, so why not? As he, would at least analyse it, or at least, he'd walk over to it, and the anti-bird would, of course, would later know as Narrow, and then later on know as Sacre, or Sacre Swallowtail. But yeah. So he'd go over, and she'd be thinking, what's he coming over for? He's never bothered to. He's just, anytime he's noticed me, he's just stared at me, smiled, and then gone back to doing what he does, training. He's like, what? And she thinks, well, now he's discovered that he's got transformation magic. What else could he do? He does take a good look around, lifting her up and opening her wings, so he's got a better picture in his head to what to transform into. So, and she's even more curious now. It's like, what is he gonna do about? And then it hits this, like, is he going to try and transform himself into me? But, well, I guess me currently is, well, an anti-bird, but, well, I guess I'm just the, closest thing around to, something that can fly, so I guess so. And he then, closes his eyes, and you have, the picture in his head as he calls upon his magic, as he then, transforms, as you'd feel a bit odd as he open his eyes, and he would realise everything is a lot bigger, massive, almost, and he then's like, yes, it's a success, as he would kind of turn his head and, flap his arms, which is his wings. And you go, well, great, now I'm going to have to learn how to fly. So, you'd take a good 2-3 hours, but you'd eventually learn how to fly. Also Narrow would pick up on what Asta's trying to do, and so she would at least try and show him without speaking. Because she can't really speak, and Asta doesn't really understand the language, like any language, besides from the language, that he speaks, and the human language. And so, after a good 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours, you'd be able to fly. And so it'd kind of fly back as everyone's kind of wondering, it's getting a bit late, as it's like, Sister Lily, shouldn't we go out and find Asta, because it's getting quite late. He's generally back by now. As they would hear knock on the door, as who's that? As they would see just a bird, as they're like, oh, what, a bird? But as then as they think, what's a bird doing here? He would then kind of transform back to himself, and everyone's like, Asta, that was yours. It took me around 4 hours to learn how to fly, 3 or 4 hours to learn how to fly, but my magic is transformation magic. I found that out in a way, but it seems like I finally understand my magic, and as everyone's kind of a bit happy now, and they wonder, right, so you can transform yourself, you think, and they're like, oh, cool, Asta, what else can you transform into? And I was like, well, I don't really know. I know I can transform objects into anything I imagine, so I guess as long as I imagine it correctly, I could probably transform into anyone. And as they kind of, as some of the younger kids are like, oh, okay, try and transform into me, as I was just like, well, I guess if I could transform into a bird, I don't know why I couldn't transform into somebody else. And so after looking over the, I can't remember their names. It would be say Nash, as Nash would. Because Nash is generally looked up to Asta, no matter how he's been, like how he's talked to Asta. He's always looked up to Asta. So Asta would transform into him, as everyone's like, wow, oh my god, you really are just, you look a lot like Nash. You practically are the, same. As, it's practically like, and, Levi's like, well, it's almost like you're twins, almost. You look the exact same. As Asta would turn himself back. He's like, I'll be, it's kind of like be it. Or at least, of course, the night would continue, where they would probably just, go eat food and maybe bath or shower and then go off to bed. So Asta would train his body still, as if he can transform stuff, or if he can transform stuff into a sword or that, he thinks, well, at least I don't have to carry anything. I can just, transform whatever object, like say the ground. Like, you can, you can imagine, I want to say this size sword, you can touch the ground, and then, or hover over the ground, say like aim, say to a millimetre or two off the ground, as then, like dirt and grass and that, would start pouring, like the ground would almost start pouring in up to his hand as a hilt, and then the rest of the sword would form. And then, whatever material he used would be, gone from the ground. And you'd think maybe firstly that it's just like, sword shape, but he then kind of thinks, well, it'd be more sense as a circle, so, yeah. Anyway. And, you'd learn how to, of course, make swords, different kinds of swords, or at least swords that eat those off, make them sharper, be able to even transform stuff even faster, and maybe even like transform parts of his body. So into maybe transforming his his arms into wings, so that he can fly. You can say maybe like fly away in a hurry, or that. So you'd learn different things. I'd say if there's elves and dwarves, or dwarves once existed. But yeah, if there's elves, dwarves, devils, and possibly gods and that of the like, I'd probably say there's dragons. If there's magic, there's generally a dragon. But they could have probably maybe died, or they're still around. They're just not seen. Yeah. So they're more of a mythical creature. If you see it, you're either gonna die or you're gonna be very lucky, or something else of the kind. And so, you'd hear about dragons, and you wouldn't really think of transforming into one, as he's there's no need to. He's never really, he's got no need for it. He doesn't need to carry anyone to anywhere, so for him, really, what's the point? And so, over the years, you'd learn how to better control his magic, make it faster and more efficient. And of course he'd be able to transform into anything that your mind can come up with. So you can transform into people. So of course you'd think, could he even transform his own magic? Yeah, because if he's got magic, but he quickly realises that doesn't work. Then he's like, well, if I transform into someone that has that magic, then could I use that person's magic? Which, well, maybe after some training, again, and after he gets his grimoire, there'll be certain abilities locked until he gets a grimoire. So yeah. And so, over the years, you'd get better at it, and Sakura would think, could he be the one to, could he be the one to, I don't know, be the hero, be the person that stops, this, from ever happening again, from what happened, 500 years ago, happening again. Could he really be the one? And, yeah. And so she would, of course, keep an eye on him. And so, they would arrive as weird, they would arrive where Asta and would go to get their grimoires. As it's well, I hope you two, have a... Oh no, I'd assume the tower is in Harch Village anyway, so, it's not that far to walk to the tower, so... But yeah, you'd say, well, I hope you two, you get strong grimoires and that, and so they're like, yeah, like bye, as they wish them, like, do you, be safe and that, and so they leave, and they would get there probably like 2 or 3 hours after. Maybe, well, yeah, probably not, like around an hour or two after, as they're not really in a rush. So they would, of course, come, go to the tower, walk in as everyone else is, there. As the old man probably wait maybe a couple more minutes. So it's like, well, that looks like everyone's here, so you then, starts rambling on what he said, and then he'd go, well, let the grimoire thing begin. Yeah. And as like everyone starts getting their grimoires, of course, like one well, yeah, like, from anywhere, people would be getting their grimoires. They would have obviously, symbols, of like 1 leaf grimoires, 2, 3 leaves. Very rare, and probably almost, oh yeah, it's like legendary to get a 4 leaf, as as of course a 4 leaf would, 2 4 leaves would descend, one for one for Asta. One would be the same in canon. Asta would have, I don't know what kind of colour would it be. What kind would it be? Because like the colour generally that it glows is generally like a colour that's symbolised with transformation, but well, I guess that'd be up to you guys. What colours do you think his grimoire would be? So yeah, and everyone's like, oh my god, those two have got 2 4, those two have got 4 leaf grimoires, oh my god. And he's like, oh my, god, this is incredible. And as he's just, like, shocked to see not just 1 but 2 grimoires from 2 people, or 2 commoners, in a sense. And so, yeah, after the surprise, Asta would, they'd be, of course, walking back as, a person would try and steal their grimoires, just like in canon, and that's why I'm going to end it here, guys. So if you have enjoyed it, if you enjoyed it so much, and you want to see more just like this, subscribe. I'll see you guys Friday for the next What If. And yeah, until then, goodbye.